Morning, good morning. We're sitting on a bench right here, and this in the middle of the woods in Scheveningen. Instead of going to the beach, going into the woods, there's less windy. So I thought, let's talk about Mao. It's a great book about on practice and contradiction. And many people don't know that Mao was actually a great philosopher. And it's just sad that he's being put away in the West like some kind of maniac, which he obviously was not, instead of what he really was, and that was the liberator of the Chinese people in China. And nobody can say that it is not true, because without him, the whole entire revolution would not be able to take place. So I'm going to talk about this, but first we're going to have to read a little bit of this analysis of what he was talking about. Goedemorgen. And then we can discuss it, because this is going to be very interesting for everybody, so stay tuned. So this is actually about practice on practice, right? On the relation between knowledge and practice, between knowing and doing, from July 1937. And that's a very important, well, the whole entire piece is very important. Actually, I should read it for you all, everything one day, but that's a little bit too much for today. So I just want to highlight something which is very interesting, especially because then you also understand why the government in China always is from the grassroots and never really elites. So here he says, if you want to know a certain thing or a certain class of things directly, you must personally participate in the practical struggle to change reality, to change that things or class of things, for only thus can you come into contact with them as phenomena. Only through personal participation in the practical struggle to change reality can you uncover the essence of that thing or class of things and comprehend them. And that's very true, right? You have things that you can know, but then you don't really know because you have not experienced them. You can only truly know when you have experienced them, or when there are links of others that did experience them. And there's a way to find it, what we also will discuss. So after that he says, the most ridiculous person in the world is the know-all, who picks up a smattering of hearsay knowledge and proclaims himself the world's #1 authority. This merely shows that he has not taken a proper measure of himself. And who do we actually know who actually does that? Who is it actually who always says that this person knows everything? Well, it's a politician in the United States, the highest one at this moment, right? He said he knows everything about C-19 back in those days, right? He knows everything about terrorists. He knows everything better than all the others. He knows the Chinese even better than the Chinese know themselves, right? Everything. Well, but what is his world experience? That is something that you need to ask. He didn't experience the struggle to buy eggs. He never had, right? Because he was born a rich man. He was born a millionaire. That's how he doesn't have any reality of what is going on in the United States for most of the people, or let alone for the European people that are just working, the normal working class, right? Here he says, if you want to know the taste of a pear, you must change the pear by eating it yourself, right? And that's very true. Otherwise you can only hear like, oh, it's just this taste or that taste, and maybe one day you have the taste, but you still don't know. But once you have eaten the pear yourself, then you will know that the pear has a certain distinct taste, which you will associate with a pear, because out of experience, right? And I think this is also very known. Now that you understand this, it is normal to reform people, right? And that is exactly what they did in the Cultural Revolution. And many times with all those landlords, they were stripped of their wealth. The landlords that did exploit the people, because not every single landlord was stripped, but the ones that were really particularly bad, treating others also very bad, they were stripped, and then they had to experience the life from the other side. And that is a way to be humble, right? Now, when we look at Western politics, mainly these people are elites or have been in social elite kind of circumstance for a very, very long time. And they don't see, or they still think in some form of a class, right? Like fans, that vice president of the United States. Although he grew up poor, he somehow still looks down on these people, right? That is why he uses these kind of terms like peasants to talk down on others. Probably because he was so poor, and he felt himself less secure, or better say he felt himself to be very insecure and inferior, and now he got money and he's starting to be like that, right? But anyway, I think all these politicians should first be walking in our shoes before they can take office, right? Because it is obvious that they have no idea what we want and what is needed for the people to be happy, because it's evident that in our neoliberal societies, most citizens are just not happy. It's evident, right? They have no trust in their government. They have no their happiness factors are very, very low most of the times. So yeah, I think we can learn from that, and I think these people should also learn from that. Hey, goedemiddag. And that is actually what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I actually really don't have much to say, but you can see it is clearly what Mao said, right? Because if we look at the policies sometimes that are so-called, well, they say it's beneficial, but you know, let's say they really want to be beneficial to the people, you know, the masses, then they have to walk in our shoes first, right? Otherwise, how do they understand how to solve a problem? Because they can feel it. Hi, goedemiddag. And that's it. Yeah, really just wanted to share this with you guys, because you guys really need to start to read these books from Mao, because there's a lot of knowledge in it. Even in the red book, what they call the red book now, right? He has something that talks about the United States, that it is going to be destroyed by its own military power in the long run, right? And he doesn't mean that the military will turn against them, but he said all these overseas bases, military bases, are like a rope around the neck of the United States. And the more they have, the tighter the rope will be. So eventually they will strangle themselves with it. And you can see it, right? How much money is going into the military complex? How much money do they use? These are public funds. This is like literally money of Americans. The exact Americans that cannot afford to buy eggs are now paying for these billionaires their salary. That's just the saddest thing, and eventually that will collapse because it is not maintainable. Anyway, let me know what you all think of this in the comment section. Have you ever read something from Mao And do you want to know more? I think it is always good for the people, even if you don't like socialism or communism, or maybe you have some dislike for Mao because of whatever reason. It's always good to read where other people came from, because if you understand this, and whether you agree with what happened in the Cultural Revolution or you don't agree with it, you now understand why certain things happened, right? Why were people stripped of their wealth? Why were they insulted, right? Because yeah, that's the practice that you are going to get after you have been doing that to others for your entire life. And it is working, because the last emperor of China, Puyi, he had to undergo it. I believe he was for 10 years in a labor/reform camp, right? Where he was not allowed to have people serve him. So he had to do everything himself. He had to learn how to tie his own shoes. And that actually made him extremely humble. And later he had a job to sweep the streets in China. And when he didn't have to do that anymore, he said he just want to continue doing it because he was humbled. He just, you know, that changed him totally, right? You just imagine that the last emperor, you know, says, no, I want to keep sweeping the streets because yeah, it's fine, right? So yeah, just something to think about. These are old things which almost nobody ever hears, because every time when we talk about Mao, it must be something bad, but they never say something about what his philosophy was. And his philosophy makes a lot of sense. And if you read it, the scary part is there's so much what he was writing of literally today's world. Anyway, let me know what you all think of this in the comment section, but please keep it respectful. We're not uncivilized barbarians. Please like, share, and if you have not yet, then follow. I'm going to make another video about that NATO group that is building right over there in The Hague. On the end of this road, they are building there, and for having their coffee this year. Anyway, from the Scheveningse bosjes, which are the woods in Scheveningen, I wish everybody a very, 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 very good day. This was your favorite half Chinese, and as always, have a great day.